And welcome back. In 2021, over 70% of all overdoses in Montgomery County were fentanyl related. And since then, the problem has only seemed greater. In late December of 22, Montgomery County Public School System's medical officer released an urgent message to the MCPS community about the dangers of fentanyl because the problem was becoming so pervasive in the school system. This January, county officials hosted a workshop on the use of the overdose drug Narcan, and it was, attended, overwhelmingly by the public. But what else are we doing? Laurie, other than hosting awareness workshops and articles in the media, what else can the county do?
Well, I feel like they're on the tail end of what the problem really is. And if you look at the increases of fentanyl overdoses, they went straight up on a chart when Biden became president. When Trump was president, it was, it was still going up, but not near as high as it was going up.
Is that because of drug availability? I mean,
yes, and I believe that those open borders, and that's not the only way that fentanyl is coming through, but a lot of fentanyl is coming through the borders, and Trump did an excellent job of working to shut that down, and now when we're just saying, yeah, just keep the borders open, well, we need to be welcoming to all people.
What can we do about it locally?
Here. I'm sorry, what?
What can we do about it locally? I mean, we have a local problem.
We need to come out publicly and support, no longer support open borders, support ways to control the border. I think when that happens, we also need to work on our families and helping our families to talk to their children, help children, because mental health is a huge problem right now, especially with young women. So we need to work on things to help children with mental illness issues. So there's a lot of things we can do besides, Narcan is definitely something you have to do right now. I can understand why they're doing that, but there's a lot of other things that need to be done.
When you say Narcan, you mean the wide distribution of Narcan?
Yeah, well, the schools now have access to that, which I think, that's saving children right now, but it's too bad it's come to this. I mean, years ago, I remember putting a warning about it on my Facebook page because I saw it coming years ago, but people were ignoring it.
I want to go to Maricé on this. Maricé, we've talked about, the sources of this drug epidemic. We saw this week, Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown announced indictments against 6 individuals for drug trafficking. And the headline on the Baltimore Sun was, officials warning that Mexican cartels are here. So how do we combat the drug problem? Is there a role for law enforcement as well as just overall awareness of the problem?
Absolutely. I mean, anything that has to do with prevention and access, law enforcement has always had a role. But when it comes to fentanyl and the opioid epidemic, we really have to look at our big pharma and our pharmaceutical loopholes. And not only that, but I think that the discussion was about, locally, what's our county doing, et cetera. I think it would be ill-advised to make this, again, an anti-immigrant situation. If there are drug cartels, if there are organized crime, that's an issue that can come from anywhere, even within allies within the country. That has nothing to do with the borders. The drugs aren't coming through the borders. We know that people are coming here to ask for help for asylum issues. So I think, making this an anti-immigrant and a xenophobic argument is against everything that I believe in. I would say this is a pharmaceutical issue, big pharma issue. And I think that the more educated the public becomes along the access to it, how kids are gaining access to Xanax, Adderall, Percocet, oxycodone, that families and adults are having within their, just within their households, and then predators coming after children that have access to these, and then putting fentanyl, et cetera, and combining. That's a whole issue that we understand is happening here in the DC area. And I absolutely agree. I think it's really alarming seeing these 120% increase in deadly youth overdoses in the county. I think we need to address this head on. And we understand that the MCPS, along with DHHS, are working on prevention, harm reduction, and treatment. And I hope that we can see more.
And I don't view closing the border as anti-immigrant. I view it as pro-immigrant. We need to protect everyone who's within the walls of our United States right now. It's a war against our children. We need to fight back, and the only way to do it is to stop drugs from coming in illegally. So that's the issue.
I will point out, that not only are the drugs being manufactured overseas, they're being manufactured in the United States. I think that was part of the warning that Anthony Brown was delivering. There was a major drug bust in Texas of a manufacturing facility where they were manufacturing fentanyl pills and other pills associated therewith. So it's not just an importation issue. It's an issue that we're around, but it's a scary deal. I mean, when you hear stories of young people who thought they were taking Adderall to help them study, and they end up taking a drug that's infected with fentanyl and they die, that's a parent's worst
It is,
nightmare.
yeah.
It's a terrible situation.